Alright guys, so today I'm going to teach you how to remove the background from your image as well as how you can change the background as well. Alright, let's get going. Hey guys, so for today's tutorial, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to remove the subject from the background as well as how we can change the background image. So when I first took this photo, I really loved the image, but I was thinking, how can I make this moodier? How can I change the feel or the mood of it? So that's what we're going to do today. So there's different ways that you can remove the background from your subjects. The first thing that you can do is you can either use the selection tool, you could use, let's say we could use the quick selection tool, or we could just use the paintbrush or erase it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock this image by double clicking it and hitting OK. And the reason we're unlocking it is because I'm going to show you right now. So when you try to erase from the image, let's raise the brush up, you're going to get whatever the background color is right here, you see? So, but when you unlock the image and you erase, then you get a background. You get that plain background to where your image is totally cut out. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to use the pen tool. So I'm just going to go in closer, and the reason I'm using the pen tool is you can really select the curves better, and it gives you a little bit more control. So I'm going to click first, and if you haven't used the pen tool, this is one of the greatest selection tools. It does take a lot more work, but at the end of it, you're going to love it, trust me. So after you click the first selection, I'm going to click right here. I'm holding the pen, I'm holding the pull, and I'm just pulling it down. So when you hold it, if you pull down, you see how it affects it. So this right here is going to be the perfect tool to get around all those curves. After you click that first selection, you're going to hold Option, and you're going to click, and it's basically going to end that curve right there. So now when I go to the next click, I can do the same thing. I'm just going to keep clicking away around it right there, holding Option, and I'm unclicking it. You can even zoom in a little bit to make it better. And Option, click. You see, I'm just going over every little detail now. So I shot this image at like a 2.8, so that's why we see like his nose and his mouth isn't much more focused than his ears or anything else like that. So I'm just gonna go in. See, and that's why this pen tool is perfect, because you really can get like the natural curves of the earring, the ear, and because the tones and the colors in this is so similar, like with the background and the skin tone, whenever you use like the magic wand or anything like that, it's going to be very, very hard to get the selection you're looking for because the colors are so similar. So whenever that happens, that's usually why whenever you get the selection and it goes into the face or anything like that, it's usually because the tones within the color of the image that you're working with. Whenever it's not perfect how I like it, I always just like to do a quick undo and just go back to where I left off. So this tool is really hard to get used to. I've been using it for a while, so that's why it's so much easier for me to move with it, but you really practice it, because once you get the hang of it, it's so much easier when you understand how the push and the pull affect your selection. You see, you bring it down, you could bring it outwards. So really just play around with the movement, especially with whatever image that you're using. Really just play around with the different curves, and it makes it so much fun. just gonna close it out. And the perfect thing with the with this tool is I'm gonna go to View, Windows, Paths. So this is basically my work path. So I'm gonna hit OK. I'm just going to rename it. And then I'm just gonna right click it and hit make selection. So now with the layers, I'm just gonna create a mask, and voila. The reason I'm creating a mask is it gives you a lot more control whenever you want to add back to it. So let's say I wanted to add some more background. You can literally just paint it in and it doesn't affect your image. So it's not like you erased it and now you don't have it anymore. You know, with the mask, you're able to really save the image and you're really able to keep all the information that you had previously. So if you ever have a mistake, you can just paint it back in without having to try to go to the history tool or without having to start over from the beginning. Perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do is get the image that I want to put in the background. So I found this nice sunset. Usually I just go on Google and I just Google some images and things that I like to see, or some things that I think will be a cool background to add. And then I'll just right click, I'll hit copy image, and then I'll just paste it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the image and I'm going to stretch it out so that it fills up that background space behind him. And then I'm going to drag this layer behind him so that now it's in the background. So it looks really nice, but the thing that you always want to make sure is that it looks realistic and believable. So with these color tones, it doesn't look as original or as normal that he's fitting in this background, correct? Especially, you know, his jacket's a little see-through, so there's some brown back there, and there's not a lot of browns. There's more reds and magentas in this background image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my original layer, and I'm just going to disable the layer mask just so we can see the background. So we have the background, the no background, and then we're going to have the image with the background in it. So I'm going to create a color layer, and I'm going to select one of the browns from here. So I'm going to select like here. So I'm going to turn off this layer. So now we have like this brown background. You see it looks believable a little bit with behind his shirt here. And I'm going to turn back the clouds on. So now I'm going to go to normal, and I love playing. I don't know about you guys, but I love playing with these, the different properties of the layer, because it really helps with your image. So with this one, I'm going to go to saturation's okay, but hue actually looks really cool. See, so now it's looking a little bit more believable. And then now I just want to play with the contrast, because you see with this image we did have a lot more dark tones in it, and this looks a little faded and neutral. So I'm going to go to my levels, and I'm just going to increase the levels a bit. Yeah, go. So you see even the colors look a little bit more believable now because all the tones are blending the same. Nice. So here's the original background, and now here's the next one. So what we can do, this little part, the earring's bothering me, and great thing I have the mask. So I'm just going to go back in. I'm going to raise the harness up a little bit, and I'm just going to using the black. So black would be to erase and white would be to add. So I'm going to raise my harness up a bit, and I'm just going to and really try to master making it look as believable and realistic as possible. Thank you.